Because if they offer you a really good job that you make a lot of money, but you're going to be miserable 5 or 6 days of the week, honestly, it doesn't add up. It's not worth it.
You're listening to the No Labels, No Limits podcast with best-selling author Sarah Box. We focus on the mantra, no labels, no limits, no excuses. And now without further ado, please welcome your commanding coach with plenty of chutzpah and heart, Sarah Box.
Hey there, welcome back to the No Labels, No Limits podcast, where we spotlight the stories of leaders and change makers who challenge their own limiting beliefs and labels to live life on their own terms. And today's guest, Ricardo Viso, is a joy coach, speaker, and founder of the Joyful Living Lounge. Now, Ricardo is absolutely no stranger to adversity. He's faced deep setbacks, and yet he's turned that pain into a philosophy of fun, resilience, and connection. He now travels the globe, helping individuals and teams break out of autopilot and into aligned, joyful living. And just that alone is worth sitting on this interview for, so we can learn about going from autopilot to alignment and joyful living. Whether coaching inside his online community or inspiring audiences in person, Ricardo reminds us that there is always a bit more joy to be found. So get ready. We're going to shift our perspectives, laugh a little, and reimagine what joy can look like, even in the face of challenges. With that, let me formally welcome Ricardo Viso to the No Labels, No Limits podcast. Hi, Ricardo.
Hi, Sarah. How are you? I love that introduction. It made me, it sounds pretty good.
I thought so too. I was pretty excited reading it. I'm thinking, who's this guy? So, but when I was going through your documents and reading and then thinking about that, I wanted, of course, to know about like your setbacks and how you've gotten where you are, how you've gotten where you are and walking through tough experiences. But I really want to start by asking you, so we may jump back and forth a little bit, about
That's
your
fine.
Joyful Living Lounge. So when I wrote that down for me to follow a question with you on that, you have the Joyful Living Lounge, which sounds like more than a brand, a movement. And I thought, what would it be like to walk into a Joyful Living Lounge if it were a physical space? So can you walk us into that lounge? So what would be our sensory parts? What would we see, feel? What would we experience? Or what will we experience when we are part of the Joyful Living Lounge?
I love the question. I think that the main thing about Joyful Living Lounge is, first, it was a lounge, not a community or any other word, because lounge gives you exactly that, like, I don't know how to say it, but it's like, it's a relaxed space where you can actually enjoy. I think it was a word that I found that mostly showed what I wanted to do. And the Joyful Living Lounge, there will be someday a physical space, and I would love to, but it's a space where you find anything that makes your moment more enjoyable. I think that there's plenty, to not say way too much, places and communities and where you can learn and find all kinds of news and get worried about life and about everything that's happening around the world. But there's very few places where you can just sit, relax, and enjoy. And that can be the smell of something, and I love the way you put it, the sight of something, the taste of something. So if you tell me a physical space, it'll be a place where you can enjoy eating, listening, watching, reading, whatever makes you enjoy the moment and can help you get away, at least for a moment, of all that, what I call the real life situations. That's the Joyful Living Lounge.
I love it. Well, I was hoping it would be something like that, because just the name of it, I thought, okay, I know there's going to be this specific kind of chair. I'm not going to need shoes, and there will be good coffee. So I'm
Exactly. That,
and not like the
yes.
room will be there, right? But just like, ah, great. What a great place to be.
And just to add on that, and again, I love that you got it pretty good, but it's the reason I use joy and not happiness is because happiness, normally you define a goal or a situation when you will be happy. And once you arrive, it happens that it lasts a second, few seconds, few minutes, and then it's gone. And it's hard to explain how to be happy. It's like, well, it's a mental state. And joy is something you can perfectly define. You just said it. I want good coffee. You enjoy a good cup of coffee. You don't need to explain why you enjoy that cup of coffee. You just enjoy it. And you enjoy taking off your shoes. So that's a perfect example of how the Joyful Living Lounge would be. That's exactly it.
Well, what inspired you to create that? And what makes it different from other coaching spaces? You kind of alluded to there's all these different community spaces online. So take us into your brain on this and how you created it, how you see it being different for folks.
Well, it was created, during all my life, all the setbacks that we'll go into them, a few of them, I've always found a way to find the silver lining or whatever word. I don't like the word silver lining, but I found a way to realize that even though there was a bad situation at the moment happening or that something looked terribly bad, there was always something good. And when I was diagnosed with cancer 4 years ago now almost, and I had the chance to stay 1 year healing. That's it. I mean, I had surgery, all the things that you can imagine. And I was like looking into real life, the way I call it, from the stands. And I was able to see that people, no matter how successful, how much money, how much whatever you want to call it, they don't enjoy. They just go through life at a very high speed, earning money, earning accolades, and doing this and doing that. But very few people really enjoy what they do. So I I had very good stories or very relatable stories to tell about all my different situations and how I ended up finding good things about them. But I didn't have like the scientific, let's call it, what was happening in my mind and how I did it. And I started giving speeches to moms with kids with cancer, and I wrote a speech. I made a speech about the gifts that cancer gave me. And then I realized again that it was not just for cancer patients or people in the world of cancer. It was something that could be applied to you or to absolutely everybody. And that's when I started, there needs to be a space where, because most of the spaces you find, uh, or not all of them, of course, but many of them are filled with fear, and you have to be worried about this and the other. And I mean, there's so much of that you don't need anymore. So I decided that there should be a space. And you also said at the beginning, which I love, I wanted to be a movement. I don't want it to be just something that it's out there. Because if I help or I show people or I convert people into the joy or the Joyful Living Lounge, it starts to spread. It's contagious. It does. It starts to, if you're kind, if you're joyful in your daily activities, people around you start doing it as well. And that permeates all across the people that surround you. So yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. And how it compares to other, I think The main thing is, again, we all have, or all of the coaches around there, amazing coaches for every sorts of things. And in my mind, very few or none that I know are focused on enjoying what you do. Again, there's always different ways where you can enjoy a little bit more what you do every day. And that's math. If I enjoy my days more, my life is happier. There's no other way around it.
I love that. As you were speaking about that and all the different kinds of coaches, I think about usually we reach out for a coach when we want to accomplish something, right? There's an end goal versus the joyful lounge. The goal is being there in that headspace, the body space, all that, right? It's a being goal, not a doing goal. You don't need
Exactly.
right?
Exactly, Sarah. And the thing is, you might need both. And I don't mean to say that the other is incorrect, because it's not. But again, if you want to accomplish something, whatever it is, and you don't enjoy the process, or again, however you want to call it, during the time that you actually reach that accomplishment or that goal, what's the purpose of accomplishing it? If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't, it really doesn't. You need to enjoy the process to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, whether it's monetary, physical, whatever you tell me. You need to be able to enjoy it. It's not that you're going to enjoy it 100% of the time, all the time. That's not possible. But if your focus is on trying consciously to enjoy, you're going to, even in the very bad moments, you're going to process them easily than if you're just focusing on that end goal, because you're focusing on enjoying the process to reach that goal.
So when you do that, Ricardo, like you said, it's not realistic. I'm trying not to cough. Gosh darn it.
Don't worry, I'm also with a cough, so don't worry. We will both cough.
I'll just tell Rupert, please watch out for the coughs. At any rate, when you hit or come upon an obstacle, if you're doing something right, if you can remember, like I'm thinking about, and I'm actually working on something which is going okay, but it is not my favorite thing to be doing. And so sometimes the lift feels heavy. It's like, okay, I have to step away from my computer. My eyes are fried from reading all this text and stuff. So I'm wondering, so part of it's a mindset, part of it's recognizing that you don't have to push so hard. And I could be in this lounge, which is why I asked you to describe it to me, because the minute you did, I went, okay, I'm ready to get back at it tomorrow. I'm ready. So I wanted to think about how you came upon this, because you note that you've had some really tough times in your life. You've referred to your cancer. So how did you begin practicing this, even before you knew what it was actually doing on your own behalf?
It happened, my first major setback in life was my mom died when I was 10. She committed suicide, actually. So you can imagine, many times we don't, or we tend to think that, well, the kids are very young and they don't understand. You do understand perfectly well that you're not going to see your mom ever again. And you might not understand the complexities behind somebody committing suicide. Of course, you don't at that age, but you perfectly realize what happened, and you're never going to see your mom again. That's something that no matter your age, normally you do understand. So at that time, and again, I cannot really explain how it happened at that moment, but my way of dealing with that was everybody that I found, I told them about it. Everybody. I met somebody, I started crying, and I told them, well, my mom died, and that helped me, of course, very much into dealing with it. And then during my teen and my high school years and college years, my mind was like, hey, how can I be worried about school or life when my mom has already died? That's the worst thing that can happen to a kid. It's already happened to me. So it was very hard, and it's still very hard for me to feel sorry for myself or to be asking why it happened. It's very hard because I just roll with the punches again. It's like, okay, I got it. But there was a time actually when I said the worst thing that's happened in my life and the best thing that's happening was my mom's death, because of course it was the worst. There's nothing to explain there. And I could go and victimize myself and say, well, I was there. It doesn't help at all. But it was the best thing because it created a very positive outlook in life. I said, what else can happen to me that's worse than this? So I'm not gonna dwell if I'm doing bad at school or if my girlfriend breaks up with me or any of the situations that are real. And I understand they are very hard on many people, but put it into perspective, they are minor issues compared to what happened. So I was, again, it was one of the best things that happened to me. So
Sounds
that's
like
when
it
it
set you
started.
free a little bit.
Yes.
Once you put that two and two together, like, okay, it's not going to get worse than this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's perspective is one of the gifts that cancer gave me that I try to show a lot. But you do have to put in perspective your problems. It's not that they're not real. It's not that you should feel terrible if you're worried about something that's minor. No, it's good. But in the end, you need to be able to put in perspective and say, okay, again, yeah, I might be flunking a subject. I might be, again, my girlfriend, my job, I'm losing my job, and all the real stuff that happens when you put in perspective what many other people are going through or what you went through sometimes, it makes you realize that you can dwell on it, but you should start moving from that dwelling and that thought process, and you need to train your mind. It's not something that happens just
Let's
by,
talk about training your mind, because I've talked with folks. They said, I just can't stop thinking about this. And I'm thinking, well, actually, you can train your mind. It just takes practice. It's not like it's easy and you just go, boom, it's done. So how do you do that?
look, I can give you a perfect example and a recent example. I was diagnosed a recurrence of the tumor 2 months ago. As soon as they tell you, everything goes to hell. You're scared, you're afraid, you're sad, you're every emotion that a cancer diagnosis gives you, I got it. And I was pretty sad and in my own thoughts for a week. But by now, I'm so, again, consciously most of the days trying to enjoy what I do that I was able to come out of it. And it's a practice. It's if they tell you you have cancer, there's two ways to look at it. I have cancer. It's the most terrible illness in the world. It's horrible. I'm going to die. Everybody dies from it. And it's so bad. And you can keep at it, and nobody's going to tell you you're wrong. They might say, yeah, I mean, poor this guy. He's feeling terrible. I'm with you, and my prayers, everything. Okay, that's good. But none of that is going to help you. So what I did was, okay, yeah, I have all of that, but all the rest of my body is perfectly well. I feel perfectly well. My kids, my wife, the people around me see me that I'm pretty good. So I should focus on that. And I start thinking about that. And when people say, I cannot stop, yes, you can, but you need to practice. You perfectly said it. You need to do the work. And when you're used to finding those moments that, okay, this is terrible, but blah, blah, blah. This is terrible, but your mind starts working that way.
Well, I think it's so powerful what you said is like, yes, I have this, but I have a my family, my kids, that's good. My body's healthy in every other way. You feel well. It's like, because I think this is a really good example that you've given, because the truth is, you might die of cancer, but you might get hit by a bus tomorrow, and you're not even thinking about the bus, you're thinking about cancer. So
Exactly.
we have these moments to be joyful in. That's it.
Everybody, the problem with cancer, again, of course, you see death more close, let's say. Okay, it's fair. But you can die tomorrow because you crash, because your heart stops beating, whatever. And if I'm actually gonna die, which we all gonna do, that it's not a cliche, it's true.
No, it's not an if, it's a when.
I'd rather live whatever is left trying to enjoy. And when you try to enjoy those moments, it changes. Like I'm in the middle right now of the treatment and all of that. There's two ways to see that treatment as well. Oh, it's terrible, the side effects and blah, blah, blah. Or, again, I feel perfectly well. I don't think nothing bad is going to happen. If it happens, I'm strong enough to deal with it. And again, I start thinking about good things. I listen to a song that I like. I do change the spiral of bad or negativity that you cannot avoid that. It's going to happen, but you can avoid feeding it, let's call it that way.
Yeah, it's the I've heard this attributed to Native Americans, but other cultures too. But it's really, you choose what you're going to feed, the negativity or the positivity.
Yes. And there are many people studying that, and there are many studies, and I can show them to people, and I've been studying that and there are many experts exactly defining that. I consider myself an expert in the term that I've lived so many things that I know that those studies that people tend to talk about, they do work. And I'm living proof that they do work.
So I want to talk about your mantra that you have. Can you share with us what it is and then how you use that in your decision making?
I started, again, when cancer hit and I was in this, let's call it, I don't know how to call it, but it was like a limbo.
Zone.
And it was like a limbo because I was not working. I was getting healed and watching how people lived and much more aware of what was going on. And during all the process that I had therapy and I talk with people, and what is it, again, if you really end up dying, which again, we're all, but what do you want to do? And what I like doing is this, enjoying people. I love being with people. I cannot have a job or spend no matter if I earn millions. I don't. I cannot be in front of a computer all day long, and I can't. I need to interact with people. So I said, one of the best ways to enjoy my days is if I do what I want to do with the person or people or that I want to be with, it's a perfect day. Again, it doesn't mean that you're going to have all your days amazing, but if you try, so it's what to do and with whom. And that takes you to decision making. Because if they offer you a really good job that you make a lot of money, but you're going to be miserable 5 or 6 days of the week, honestly, it doesn't add up. It's not worth it. And we're so much into that we do believe that, no, we need to sacrifice, we need to do it. No, you don't. Of course, you need to make a living. I'm not saying go and live under the tree and no matter what happens, you're going to be okay. No, you need to. But even when you have a job that you don't enjoy that much, there are aspects of that job that you might find that you enjoy a little bit more. Like if I tell you, what's the worst job in the world you can think of, Sarah? Tell me the worst job in the world for you.
Something that makes me stay in a windowless room where I can't see or be outside.
Okay, imagine and you have two people doing that, whatever, bookkeeping, I don't know, whatever, but they are in that kind of situation, and you always find one that enjoys it more than the other. And it's the same job, the exact same pay, everything. But one of them decided to take a different approach. So it is a fact. Any job you find out there, any living you find out there, the same situation, you have people enjoying it a little bit more than others. So there is a choice.
So I like that, what you talked about, like what to do and with whom, because that actually is a great question to ask yourself every morning.
Yes.
You know,
and that makes me, I don't spend time anymore with people that I just want to get something out of them, for interest. I don't. I like people that add to your life, that you can learn from, that you can enjoy being with them. So if they tell me, there's a meeting and you might, this guy that's so successful, and you might, I don't care. What's the purpose of that? Again, it's not that I won't network. I love networking, but for the right reason, not for just the sake of, let's see if I can make something out of that and earn a lot of money. It's a waste of time.
No, I hear the distinction in what you're saying, and for me, that comes down to like, what's my core motivation for doing that? And does that align with who I am as a person?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what makes you alive, and it's exactly that, that's also perfectly fine. It's just that you need to define for yourself what exactly is the way you're going to enjoy your life. There's people that really enjoy working 100 hours a week, earning a lot of money. That's great. That's really great, as long as you really enjoy that.
Yeah.
But people that make this amount of money, or make this, and they are not enjoying, life is going to end, and you never enjoyed anything, but you made a lot of money. Then what's the purpose of it?
Yes, exactly. So I wanted to ask you something kind of shifting. Do you work with organizations or teams, or mostly just with one-on-one kind of people?
I started working one-on-one, and I'm shifting. No, not shifting. I'm still working, but I want it to be a movement, and I want to reach as much people as I can. So I did these workshops. I created these workshops where I can reach more people. So I can go to an organization and at least, again, show these small tools and different ways where you can really enjoy. And in the end, it's not only for the self-purpose of my movement or the Joyful Living Lounge movement. When companies have people that are happier or enjoy more, they are more productive. That's science. Again, there's studies out there, and I can show them, and your turnover is less.
Yeah.
So it does make a huge difference when you find a way for your team to enjoy more what they do, whatever is it they do, even if it's very stressful, which there are some jobs that are.
Oh, there are jobs that are super stressful and super important. But if you have a solid team with you and around you, you rely on each other. You're the source of support with one another to help kind of keep focused.
Yeah.
And stay real with what's going on, versus getting blown up this big when it's big, but it's not monumental big, it's just big. So, but thinking about that and working with teams, what are some of the first signs or steps that you tell them as a team they might want to focus on?
One of the exercises that I got from one of the experts that I talk about is, and I love this exercise, where you have a chart where you have here, I enjoy a lot, I don't enjoy, and it's not challenging and very challenging. and you map all the activities you do during the day. And that works for your personal life and your job. But for job, for organization, you were asking, so you chart all these activities you do daily. And most of the times it happens that most of the people have most of their activities in the worst part of the chart, which is I don't enjoy, and they're very challenging. If you're there, you need to find, there's always, that's part of the coaching and all the process, and you narrow down those activities and find a way to move them in that chart. So instead of being not enjoyable at all, they might not, you cannot lose the challenging part, maybe not. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. Well, then you just need to put it a little bit higher in the enjoyable part. And then the other activity, and you choose those activities. So that way, you find ways to make it a little bit more enjoyable. Again, it's not that you're gonna completely overhaul and now you love what you're doing. No, it doesn't happen that way. But if you're here and you end up being here, it creates a better work atmosphere to work, and your team becomes more productive. You become more productive.
Yeah. So how do you do that? So say I do a chart for my workday, and just like you said, the majority of it is in this part of it's not the thing I like doing the best, and it's hard. It's a big challenge for me. What would be some of the things you would help me to think about so I could go, okay, how do I move that differently in my chart? Because the option of getting it off my chart, at least in the short term, isn't there.
Not possible.
Yeah, it might be in 6 or 8 months, but not right away.
Let me give you an example that
Perfect.
The expert here said it, or I'm going to put it in, so you can put it in the notes and everything. But he had an amazing example. He was married, and he had kids, and the worst moment in their day was when their kids needed to go and take a bath. And it was chaotic for them, and it was really stressing their marriage at that point. So he said one day, you know what? I don't care about anything else. We need to find a way to solve that. So they took from their budget some other space, and they hired somebody to bath their kids. And what happened was this person did it as a job and as a play. And so the kids suddenly started loving to take a bath. And then in the end, the parents didn't need this person anymore because they were eager to bathe their kids because the kids enjoyed it a lot. So depending on each person's job or situation, or again, depending exactly what that particular activity is, there are some activities that you might not change and they're going to remain that. But of all those you have during the day, you might find, okay, let's double these on these, or let's find there's another person that that he has these moments. You need to find your fun vitamins for every day, your enjoy vitamins. So if you enjoy singing, once you're absolutely desperate, go out and sing. And it sounds stupid, but it's not. It's not. There are songs that make you feel better, so listen to that song. But you get everything goes around you so fast that you don't spend time, again, consciously trying to enjoy what you're doing. And that's the secret. It's not a secret. It's when you want to become fitter, you need to consciously exercise every day. It doesn't happen, I wake up, I manifest, and now I'm fit. No, there's absolutely no way of doing that. You need to work on it. To enjoy what you do, you need to work your mind consciously towards that.
I think it's also for me over the course of working over the years, I think you go around and you do it, and then you have to come back and look maybe at a different season and say, you know what, that was perfect for the last 10 years, but now this matters and I want to shift again. So I think it's sometimes misleading to let people think it's a one and done.
Yeah,
We're
no,
always
no.
growing and evolving,
Yeah.
but we do have that choice. Like, what am I going to do and who am I going to do it with? I think that is like such a basic question to ask that we probably don't ask it very often.
And again, there might be moments or days where you cannot choose exactly. I understand, but you can always squeeze time or moments or something that gives you that joy. You
I
can
think for
always.
me, I can make a challenge when I know something's going to be hard, difficult, emotionally or whatever. If I go into it going, okay, honestly, I think this is going to suck a little bit. So I'm going to look for lessons in it. Like, what will I know that I can share with someone else if they have to do this, or what, because it takes me out of thinking about me in that moment. It's just like,
Exactly.
it
And
isn't
that's the
for
way
me.
it works.
Yeah.
Again, I can tell you, I'm gonna do, or I'm doing chemo, and my chemo sessions are a mix of chemo, and they're 6 hours long.
Holy moly.
And you can go over and say, oh, this is 6 hours, I'm sick, I'm this, and you won't. And honestly, I take a book, I read, I listen to stand-up comedy that I like. I don't go there thinking about, oh, what a terrible. No, I just go there thinking this is gonna help me.
Yep.
And it's a good 6 hours to enjoy a podcast, to listen to Sarah, to do this, to do the other. And it ends up being like that. If you go in saying, oh, what a terrible day it's gonna be, guess what? You're gonna have a terrible
You're going to
day
get it. Yeah. Because,
most of the times.
yeah. Well, we create what with our thinking,
Yes.
right? And I imagine just even going in knowing that you're going to be there for 6 hours, I go, but there's people there caring for you because they care about this work. It's important to them that you do well. And so I don't mean to make light of it because it just would suck to be doing that at this moment, right? And so I wish you all the best in it, but I also know that you're already putting it all the best in it for you.
Yeah.
So
And again, it's not that you don't think about all the bad things that can happen. You do, but they last in my mind at this moment in my life very, very few times. I don't dwell on them. I really don't.
So who are your favorite stand-up comics right now that you're paying attention to?
There are plenty of them. There's one but he has a very, very dark humor. But that's what I love about he is nobody has that ability now that it's all with all these that you need to be very polite. And
Oh my God.
he's dark. He's Anthony Jeselnik. He's amazing. And honestly, his humor is overboard dark. But it's an art to do that. And if you see it as comedy, it doesn't mean that he really thinks the stuff, but it's funny. I love Chelsea Handler. I love Kevin Hart. And there are other Mexican speaking Spanish comedy, stand-up comedians that are very good. And I end up knowing more of them every time because I listen to, they tell me, oh, this one's pretty good. And again, it's not only that, it's the songs. I have a 3, 4, 5 playlists of 80 songs that are happy. I don't listen to the WhatsApp groups or chat groups where everybody sends all this terrible information. I've been basically without really listening to the news for a long time because they just fill your head with terrible thoughts. I read summaries of what's going on because I want to know what's going on in the world, but I don't listen to them because they make you feel bad.
Yeah.
Why would I need that in my life? What's the purpose? Can I change something? No. So then I don't like listening to them.
I think I like to know what's going on, but I also like to have a clear boundary of what I'm not going to be able to affect. or change. And
Yes,
and then go and do something that is enjoyable to do. And for me,
exactly.
I like my work. I love my dog, and they're not very big deal things.
But
So,
they don't need to be very big deal
correct.
things.
Yeah. Okay, that's not true. It's still recording. Let me look at the time. Okay. So I think with that, I want to ask you to tell folks where they should reach out to you. I know that you have a month access to your Joyful Living Lounge school community.
That's going to be launched in the next month. Right now, I have the community in Facebook. They can reach out to me at my website. It's experienceviso.com.
Okay.
Or my email, viso@experienceviso.com. And I have also Experience Viso in Instagram. And honestly, yeah, anything people want either to share or to be a part of it, I would love to. I want this to be in the end a movement, not only something that I preach and say, well, I think it's good. No, I know it's good and I know it works. So the more people that buy into it, I think we can be better. And these days that everybody's in these psychotic and dramatic and terrible moments, they can find at least some space where they can relax a little bit and bring down their stress level.
But that's worth gold, Ricardo. I mean, just having that space to go right now in this moment, I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm going to feel my heart beating right now, right? I'm going to feel my feet on the ground, whatever, and not go, what am I going to do 10 minutes from now? Because that's not here yet. And it's taken me a lot of work to get where I can just go, I don't need to worry about that right now. Something may come up and may not have to ever worry about it.
No, remember, in the end, I don't know, I don't remember exactly the percentage, but 95% of everything that worries you, it's in your head. Yeah. It's never going to happen, or it didn't happen, or it happened a long time ago. So it's basically your mind being worried, not what happens outside.
So I'm going to give you the final words on the podcast to share with the audience and leave us with a thought that you want us to take into our week and our life, regardless of when we hear this. So you're up at bat, Ricardo. What is it?
Thank you. I think, again, it's no matter what you're facing, no matter the moment or the situation, there's always a way to enjoy a little bit more what you're living that moment. And it might be a terrible moment. It might be a very difficult situation. And those are going to happen all your life. They're not going to stop happening. But you can choose in the end how you're going to end up, or how those situations are going to affect in the end how you live. And if you train your mind to at least consciously try to enjoy moments of your day, not all your day, moments, that'll start shifting your mindset for sure.
All right, No Labels, No Limits podcast listeners. You heard it from Ricardo. We will have all of his connect information in the show notes as usual. And I'm going to ask you, if you took something away from Ricardo and you know someone who could really benefit from hearing it, please share this episode with them. And we would love for you to leave us a rating and review, because that helps get the podcast out to even more people. So with that, Ricardo, thank you so much for being a guest. I appreciate everything you shared with us.
Thank you, and see you guys on the Joyful Living Lounge in Facebook right now.
See you there in the lounge.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the No Labels, No Limits podcast with best-selling author, change agent, and strategic business coach, Sarah Box. You can grab the show notes and find out how to work with Sarah at sarahbox.com/No Labels, No Limits podcast. We'd love this podcast to reach as many people as possible. Please remember to rate, leave a 5-star review, and share the podcast with someone you think would get value from this conversation. Till next time, keep taking those daily action steps to align your purpose to your principles and achieve your goals in business and life.